About 3.3 seconds is where mutual gaze felt best on average in one study, which is a strange sentence because normal conversation is not supposed to feel timed. You look at someone while they talk, then look away, then look back, and for a moment everything feels normal. Look away too soon, and the same gesture can read as boredom, nerves, or distance. Hold the gaze a little too long, and the same harmless conversation starts to tighten. The weirdness is not just that you are seeing their eyes, it is that you suddenly know they can see you seeing them, and now ordinary looking has turned into mutual pressure. That 3.3-second number comes from a study where people adjusted moments of mutual gaze until the duration felt most comfortable. Useful number. Dangerous number. If it makes you treat eye contact like a test you can pass. An average tells us there is a detectable comfort zone, not a rule for every conversation. Relationship matters, culture matters, personality matters, the room matters, and sometimes looking away simply helps you think. Still, the number matters because it proves the awkward timer is not completely imaginary. A few seconds of shared looking can be measured, which means the real question is, why those few seconds carry so much weight in the first place? Before eye contact becomes manners, confidence, flirting, disrespect, or whatever adult humans decide to make stressful this week, it is already doing something simpler. It points attention. Newborns only 2 to 5 days old have shown a preference for faces looking straight at them. By 4 months old, infants also show stronger neural processing for direct gaze. That does not mean babies are born with a tiny etiquette manual. It suggests that direct gaze has an early pull, before anyone teaches the social rules around it. Human eyes also make that pull unusually easy to read, because the visible white around the iris helps show which way someone is looking. In plain terms, our eyes are not magic truth windows, they are attention displays. And once attention has a visible direction, the next problem is obvious. What happens when that direction lands on you? A picture of eyes can feel intense, but it cannot look back at you. A person can. That is the jump from seeing eyes to being inside eye contact. Mutual gaze is not just two faces pointed at each other. It is the moment both people can register, at the same time, that attention has become shared. This is why a stare from a photo and a look from a living person do not land the same way in the body. In one study, live mutual eye contact produced stronger physiological arousal than photograph direct gaze. Same basic eye direction, different social situation. The live version says, in effect, this is about you now. Direct gaze grabs attention, but mutual gaze makes the attention personal. You are not only seeing them, you are also being seen them. That is the tiny loop that makes eye contact feel powerful, awkward, warm, exposing, or suddenly too much. Which raises the practical question. If the signal is so intense, why do we use it constantly just to get through a normal conversation? Once mutual gaze feels personal, it is tempting to treat every look like secret emotional evidence. But a lot of gaze is more boring than that, and more useful. Conversation is a timing problem. Someone talks, someone listens, and someone has to notice when the whole thing starts to wobble. A 2021 review found strong support that gaze helps with turn yielding, speech monitoring, repairing breakdowns, and interruptions. In human terms, eyes help manage who has the floor, whether the listener is still with you, and whether the sentence needs a small rescue. That is why people often look away while forming a thought, then look back near the end to check the other person. The wall is not receiving a confession, it is just giving your brain a quieter place to assemble words. Eye contact is not only intimacy or threat, it is also traffic control for two people trying not to crash into the same sentence. And because that traffic signal is attached to a face, we start reading it as character. This is where eye contact starts getting socially expensive, because attention aimed at you does not feel neutral. It feels like it means something. The same direct look can read as warmth, confidence, challenge, interest, pressure, suspicion, or someone trying very hard to remember your name. Some of those guesses might be right. The problem is that eye contact gives a signal of attention, not a clean translation of motive. A person looking straight at you may be listening, threatening, flirting, concentrating, or performing confidence. Context does the heavy lifting, relationship, tone, distance, culture, facial expression, the conversation itself. A powerful signal is not the same thing as a clean translation, and that matters most when we start treating eyes like proof. The tempting move is to upgrade that signal into evidence. Someone looks away and suddenly people start building a whole case on half a second of forehead direction. Avoiding eye contact is not reliable evidence of lying, guilt, disrespect, or hidden motive. It can come from thinking, stress, habit, culture, sensory load, or the basic timing of conversation. Direct eye contact can still matter. It can feel intense, warm, challenging, or exposing, but meaningful is not the same as readable on command. Once that fake certainty is gone, the harder truth appears. Eye contact is powerful because its meaning changes with the person and the setting. There is no universal correct amount of it. The same gaze can feel polite in one relationship, aggressive in another, intimate in one room, unbearable in another. Culture shapes it, but not as a clean East versus West cartoon. The pattern changes with the task, the setting, and how you measure it. Personality matters too, and so does emotional state. For someone already anxious about being watched, a normal look can feel louder than it was meant to be. For some autistic teens and adults, eye contact is not mildly awkward. People report adverse emotional and physical reactions, sensory overload, confusion about the rules, and even a feeling of being invaded. That is not a failure to understand the correct code. It is evidence that the code was never universal in the first place. Eye contact is a context-sensitive signal, which means the useful skill is not solving it once, but negotiating it in the moment. The useful model is simpler than a rule about the correct amount of eye contact. Eye contact feels weird because it mixes connection with exposure, while both people are still reacting in real time. There's the first layer, you look at someone, which gives you information. The second layer is being looked at, which makes the information point back at you. The third is mutual gaze. Both of you can notice that attention is shared, and the conversation briefly becomes self-aware. That is why the same tiny movement of the eyes can feel like listening, pressure, trust, interruption, overload, or nothing much at all. You cannot always switch off the social alarm just because you understand the wiring, but you can stop treating every look away as disrespect and every direct look as proof. Back in that ordinary conversation, nothing dramatic is happening. Two people are just trying to keep a normal conversation moving. You look, they look back, and for a few seconds the room has a small shared spotlight in it. That spotlight is useful because it shows where attention is going. It is awkward because both people can notice the light at the same time. So the strange feeling was never just about eyes or manners or whether you have discovered the perfect number of seconds. Eye contact feels weird because vision becomes shared attention and the body is doing its best without a clean instruction manual.